The timeless wisdom of Stoicism, how to master your mind, life, and destiny. Imagine this. Right now, at this very moment, you hold the power to change your life, not through fame, wealth, or ambition, but through mastering one simple, eternal truth. You control only yourself. This is the wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy not of cold detachment, but of profound courage, inner strength, and clarity. It teaches you how to live, how to suffer, how to love, and, perhaps most importantly, how to die. In the next few minutes, we will walk through the ancient streets of Athens, the imperial courts of Rome, the solitude of the battlefield, and even the chaotic world of today, to understand how this ancient philosophy can give you the tools to conquer modern life. Why Stoicism still matters. Picture a man stuck in traffic, furious, shouting inside his car. Does his anger move the cars? Does it change the situation? Number. It only enslaves him further to things beyond his control. Now imagine another man, also stuck, but calm, accepting, using the time to think, reflect, breathe. He smiles, because he knows, this moment was never mine to control. Only my response belongs to me. That is Stoicism. And in our world, full of stress, anxiety, social pressures, its message is more relevant than ever. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The origins of Stoicism, the birth of Stoicism. Our journey begins over 2,300 years ago, with a man named Zeno of Citium. Zeno was a merchant, a wealthy one, until a shipwreck left him destitute, wandering the streets of Athens. There, he stumbled into a bookstore and picked up a book about Socrates. He was captivated, not by riches, but by wisdom. He sought out the greatest philosophers of Athens, and in time he began teaching his own ideas beneath a painted porch called the Stoa Poikile, from which the philosophy of Stoicism gets its name. The key figures, after Zeno came Cleanthes, then Chrysippus, who wrote over 700 books refining the Stoic system. They laid the foundation for what would later influence emperors and slaves alike. Seneca, a playwright and advisor to Nero. Epictetus, a freed slave turned teacher. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king whose words still inspire leaders today. These men taught not how to escape life, but how to live fully within it. Stoicism moves to Rome. Stoicism spread from Greece to Rome, finding fertile ground in the hearts of soldiers, politicians, and everyday citizens. Why? Because Rome, like today's world, was chaotic, brutal, unpredictable. Stoicism offered clarity, purpose, a code to live by when the world seemed mad. The story of Stoicism begins not in a palace, not in a temple, but in disaster. Zeno of Citium was a merchant from Cyprus. His life was business, trade, and wealth, until one day a storm swallowed his ship whole. He lost everything, his cargo, his fortune, his future. Wandering through Athens, penniless and broken, Zeno stepped into a small bookstore. There he picked up a book about Socrates, the philosopher who had taught that wisdom matters more than riches. And something inside Zeno awakened. "Where can I find a man like this?" he asked the bookseller. The answer, "Follow that man, Crates the cynic." Crates was no ordinary teacher. He lived simply, owned almost nothing. He begged, he was mocked, yet he laughed louder than his critics. He showed Zeno something powerful, that true freedom comes not from owning things, but from mastering yourself. Zeno studied with Crates and with other great thinkers. Slowly, he began forming his own philosophy, one rooted in logic, nature, and virtue. A philosophy about living not according to wealth or power, but according to reason and nature. Zeno began teaching in Athens, beneath a painted porch called the Stoa Poikile, the painted porch. It was a place where anyone could come to listen, rich or poor, slave or free. His teachings became known simply as Stoicism. What did Zeno teach? Zeno taught that life is like sailing a ship. We may steer, but we do not control the winds, the storms, or the sea itself. What matters is how we sail, with courage, wisdom, and acceptance. The Stoics believed there is a divine order to the universe. Some called it logos, reason, nature, fate. Whatever you call it, one truth remained. We cannot change the world, but we can choose how to live within it. After Zeno came others who refined Stoicism further. Cleanthes, a man of great patience and persistence. He once worked as a water carrier by night to afford studying philosophy by day. He taught that we must live in harmony with the universe, accepting fate as we accept the seasons. Cleanthes wrote, "Lead me, O Zeus, and you, O destiny, wherever your decree has fixed my place. I follow willingly, but if I choose not, I shall follow still." Chrysippus came next. He wrote more than 700 works on Stoicism, shaping it into a full system of logic, ethics, and physics. He taught, virtue is the only true good. Everything else, money, health, even life itself, is indifferent. What matters is how we use what we are given. Centuries later, Stoicism found new life in Rome. Rome was brutal, violent, filled with power struggles and corruption, yet even in such a world, Stoicism thrived. Because its message was universal, strength comes from within, not from status, not from fortune, not from others. Three giants of Roman Stoicism. Seneca the Younger. First came Seneca, a wealthy man, a brilliant writer, a tutor, and later an advisor to the cruel emperor Nero. Seneca taught moderation, wisdom, and restraint, even as he navigated one of history's most dangerous courts. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." He reminded people that death is nothing to fear, and that misfortune is often just poor perception. Epictetus the slave. Next came Epictetus, born a slave, crippled by his master. Yet he became one of history's greatest teachers. His lessons were clear and sharp. Focus only on what belongs to you, your thoughts, your actions, your character. Everything else is beyond your control and not worth your worry. Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things." He believed freedom comes not from chains or titles, but from mastering our minds. Marcus Aurelius the emperor, and then the emperor himself, Marcus Aurelius, leader of Rome, commander of armies, philosopher in secret, as plague swept through his empire, as war burned at his borders, Marcus Aurelius wrote not for the world, but for himself. Private thoughts, private reflections, a diary we now call meditations. In those pages, we find timeless wisdom. The obstacle is the way. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Death smiles at us all. All we can do is smile back. From a shipwrecked merchant to a philosopher slave to the ruler of the known world, the path of Stoicism remained the same. Master yourself, accept your fate, live with virtue, find peace within. Why their ideas still matter today, we live in a world Zeno and Marcus could not have imagined. Yet our struggles are the same. We face frustration, loss, fear, disappointment, and the solution is the same now as it was then. We cannot control the world. We cannot control others, but we can control ourselves. The core teachings of Stoicism, what is truly under your control, why virtue is the only good, and how Stoics turn adversity into strength. The core teachings of Stoic philosophy life pulls us in every direction: work, family, health, finances, unexpected news, unfair criticism, lost opportunities. So how do we remain steady, calm, and strong when life refuses to go our way? The Stoics believed the answer begins with one simple, unshakable truth. We control very little, but what we do control is enough. The dichotomy of control. The first principle of Stoicism, and perhaps the most important, is called the dichotomy of control. There are two types of things in this world: things we can control, things we cannot. What is within your control? Your thoughts. your choices, your actions, your attitude, what is outside your control, other people's opinions, the weather politics, the economy, even your own body to some extent, sickness, aging, accidents. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us and some are not. Spend your energy only on what belongs to you. Let the rest go. When you waste time trying to control the uncontrollable, you invite frustration, anger, and anxiety. When you focus solely on yourself, your reason, your virtue, your responses, you build unshakable inner peace." 2. Virtue is the only true good. The Stoics taught that virtue is the only true good. Not money, not fame, not even health or safety, because none of those are fully within your control. Virtue, on the other hand, is always in your hands. Virtue means living in accordance with reason. It means acting with wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control, no matter what the world throws at you. To a Stoic, it doesn't matter if you live in a palace or a prison. The only question is, did you live well? Did you live rightly? Seneca wrote, "A good character, once established, is not easily overthrown by external events." The 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism. Wisdom, knowing what is good, what is bad, and what is indifferent. Courage, facing difficulty, pain, and fear with strength. Justice, acting fairly toward others, treating people as they deserve. Temperance, exercising moderation, self-restraint, and balance. These are not abstract ideals, they are practical tools for living well every day. 3. Live according to nature. The Stoics spoke often of living in accordance with nature. What does this mean? Not simply going into the wilderness, but understanding and accepting the nature of reality, of human beings, of life itself. Nature shows us that everything changes. Seasons come and go, storms rise and fall, life ends and begins again. Human nature, too, is part of this cycle. We are rational beings, capable of understanding ourselves and the world. To live well is to accept our role in this vast order, to play our part with dignity and humility. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change. Fighting against reality leads only to suffering. Accepting it leads to peace." 4 Stoic views on fate and reason. Stoics believed in fate, not as blind superstition, but as the recognition that much of life unfolds beyond our control. Call it fate, providence, or simply cause and effect. The Stoics saw life as a vast chain of events, interconnected and shaped by forces larger than any one person. Our job is not to fight the current, but to steer our little boat with skill and integrity. We do not choose the wind, but we choose how to set our sails. Epictetus taught, "Do not seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go smoothly." This is not surrender. It is wisdom. It is learning to work with life, not against it. These ideas are not meant to stay in books. They are meant to shape how we live, how we respond to criticism, how we face illness, how we deal with failure, how we handle success. The Stoics remind us, you cannot control what happens. You can only control how you meet it, with virtue, with calm, with courage. Stoicism and emotions. Why Stoics don't suppress emotions, they master them. How to turn fear, anger, and desire into tools of strength. Timeless techniques for training the mind. Stoicism and emotions. There's a common misunderstanding about Stoicism. People often imagine Stoics as cold, emotionless, detached, but this is a mistake. Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions. It's about understanding them, mastering them, transforming them from dangerous forces into useful tools. The Stoics knew we cannot always control what we feel in the first instant, but we can always control what we do next. 1. The nature of emotions in Stoicism. For the Stoics, emotions are not random or mysterious. They arise from our judgments, from how we interpret the world around us. Fear, anger, jealousy, anxiety. These do not come from events themselves, but from the stories we tell ourselves about those events. Epictetus taught, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. A missed opportunity, an insult, an unexpected loss. These are simply facts of life. It is our interpretation, our fear, our pride, our attachment that turns them into suffering." Understanding passions, the four key emotions. The Stoics identified four main emotional disturbances, which they called passions. 1. Fear. Fear arises when we think something bad will happen, something outside our control. But the Stoics ask, if it's outside your control, why fear it? If it's within your control, why worry? 2. Desire. Desire often pulls us toward things we think will make us happy: wealth, fame, possessions. But true happiness lies not in what we chase, but in how we live. 3. Pain. Pain is natural, physical, emotional, psychological, but suffering comes when we resist it, fear it, or exaggerate it in our minds. 4. Pleasure. Pleasure isn't evil, but obsession with pleasure leads to weakness. The Stoics warned against becoming slaves to comfort, luxury, or addiction. 3 techniques for mastering emotion. Premeditatio. Malorum, preparing for hardship. One of the Stoics' most powerful practices is called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Visualize what might go wrong, not to become fearful, but to become prepared. If you expect difficulty, you meet it with calm. If you expect loss, you meet it with gratitude for what you had. Seneca wrote, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." Negative visualization, a tool for gratitude. Imagine losing the things you take for granted: your health, your home, your loved ones. Not to make yourself sad, but to remind yourself how precious they are. By reflecting on loss, we learn to cherish what we have. We also train ourselves to let go more easily when the time comes. Amor fati, the love of fate. Another key Stoic principle is amor fati, the love of fate. It's not enough to accept what happens. The Stoic learns to embrace it, even hardship, even loss, even failure. Because each event, good or bad, becomes part of our growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Don't resent the obstacle. Welcome it. Learn from it. Use it. 4. Turning emotion into strength. The Stoics believed that the mind is like iron. Untrained, it rusts. But when tested, forged, sharpened, it becomes strong, resilient, unbreakable. Emotions are the fire. Reason is the hammer. Through daily practice, reflection, and discipline, we shape ourselves into something stronger than circumstances. 5 practical practices for emotional mastery. Daily reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what disturbed my peace today? How did I respond? How could I respond better tomorrow? This is not self-criticism, it's self-improvement. Morning preparation. Begin each day reminding yourself, people may insult you, plans may fail, life may change, but none of this controls you. Your virtue, your reason, your calm, these are yours alone. The view from above. Picture your life from a high vantage point. See the cities, the people, the vastness of time. Your problems shrink in the grand perspective. The universe moves on. What matters is how you live within your brief, precious moment. Emotions are not enemies. They are signals, guides, opportunities for growth. The Stoic does not reject feelings. The Stoic refines them, turning fear into caution, anger into courage, desire into discipline, sadness into gratitude. Master yourself, and no emotion will ever master you. The Stoic path to inner peace. How to live Stoicism in daily life. How to handle adversity, insult, and loss. How to build resilience, patience, and strength. Step by step. The Stoic path to inner peace. We have explored the Stoic ideas of control, virtue, and emotion, but philosophy means little without practice. How do we take these ancient teachings, and live them here and now in our modern world. What does the Stoic path to inner peace look like in everyday life? 1. Daily practices of the Stoics. The Stoics believed peace was not found in grand speeches or distant retreats, but in the small, deliberate habits of daily life. Morning reflection, preparing the mind. Each day begins with a simple truth. You do not control what the day will bring, but you do control how you meet it. Marcus Aurelius wrote each morning reminding himself, "Today I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly, yet none of them can harm me." Prepare yourself. Expect difficulties, expect rudeness, expect change. This is not pessimism, it is readiness. If you are prepared, you will not be shaken. Evening reflection, reviewing the day. At the end of the day, pause, reflect. Ask yourself, where did I lose my temper? Where did I give in to fear or desire? Where did I act with wisdom, patience, and courage? Seneca advised, call yourself to account, bring your deeds to light. Not to punish yourself, but to understand yourself, to improve, to strengthen your character, one day at a time. 2. How Stoics handle adversity, insult, and loss. Life will hurt, people will offend, fortunes will rise and fall. The Stoics prepared not to avoid hardship, but to meet it with dignity, facing adversity. When hardship comes, remind yourself, this is the test I was born for. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because hardship reveals your strength. Without obstacles, there is no growth. Epictetus said, difficulties are things that show what men are. Meet challenges with reason, not complaint, with courage, not fear. Handling insults and criticism. When someone insults you, what has truly happened? They spoke words, nothing more. You give power to those words, or you don't. A Stoic response? Silence, humour, pity for those still ruled by anger. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Protect your peace. Let others waste their energy on insults. You keep your dignity, dealing with loss. Loss is part of life. People leave, things break, health fades, time passes. The Stoics prepared their hearts through a practice called negative visualization. Imagine life without your possessions, your comforts, even the people you love, not to cause pain, but to cultivate gratitude, to remind yourself, nothing is truly ours, everything is borrowed. Love deeply, appreciate fully, and when the time comes, let go with grace. 3. Building resilience, patience, and strength. Resilience. Resilience is not born from ease, but from enduring storms with steady hands. Each hardship faced, each challenge met with calm, strengthens your spirit. You become like a tree rooted deeply. The winds may shake you, but you do not fall. Patience. Patience is the art of waiting without complaint. The Stoic sees time as indifferent. Impatience solves nothing. What matters is action, not when, but how, and with what virtue. Inner strength. Inner strength is knowing where your power ends and where it begins. It is not control over others. It is not dominance over the world. It is mastery over yourself. Seneca wrote, he is most powerful who has himself in his own power. 4 practical examples for modern life. At work, focus on effort, not praise. Handle criticism with calm. Lead with fairness, not ego. In relationships, listen more than you speak. Love without attachment. Forgive quickly. Hold no grudges. With yourself, journal daily. Practice gratitude. Live simply, avoiding unnecessary desires. 5. The benefits of the Stoic path. What comes from living this way? Not wealth, not fame, but something far rarer. Peace, freedom from anger, fear, envy. and regret. The ability to meet each moment, good or bad, with steady eyes and a calm heart. You cannot control the waves, but you can learn to sail. This is the path the Stoics offer, and it leads not to perfection, but to profound peace. Stoicism in modern life. How Stoicism applies to business, relationships, leadership, and modern anxieties. Comparing Stoicism to other life philosophies. Stoicism in modern life. The world has changed since the days of Zeno, Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, but human nature has not. We still suffer from anxiety. We still crave control. We still get angry, envious, impatient, afraid. And so Stoicism, though ancient, remains profoundly modern. 1. Stoicism and business. Narrator. In the business world, people chase growth, targets, profits. They fear failure. They crave approval. They burn out chasing things beyond their control. The Stoic approach: focus on effort, not outcome. Act with integrity, not ambition alone. Remain calm in chaos. Treat colleagues and competitors with fairness and dignity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, do your duty without expecting applause. Whether you succeed or fail, what matters is how you conducted yourself. Were you honest, patient, just, courageous? That is your legacy. That is your peace. 2. Stoicism and relationships. In love, friendship, and family, Stoicism teaches acceptance. You cannot control others, not their choices, not their feelings, not their paths. But you can control how you respond, with patience, not anger, with forgiveness, not resentment, with kindness, not expectation. Epictetus taught, you are not disturbed by what others do, but by your opinion of what they do. Let go of expectations. Love people for who they are, not for what you wish them to be. 3. Stoicism and leadership. The greatest leaders are not those who rule through fear or manipulation. They are those who lead by example. Marcus Aurelius was emperor of the most powerful empire on earth, yet his daily writings show humility, patience, and compassion. He understood power is fleeting, character is eternal. A Stoic leader acts with justice, even when it is hard, speaks with clarity, not arrogance, listens more than they speak, serves rather than demands. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. 4. Stoicism and modern anxieties. We live in a world of noise, endless news cycles, social media, opinions, outrage, envy. Comparison steals our peace. Distraction robs our time. The Stoic answer is simple. Turn inward. Focus on what belongs to you, your actions, your thoughts, your values. Limit what you consume. Question what you believe. Silence is not weakness, it is strength. Seneca warned, he who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. Why suffer the imagined future? Why waste today on things beyond your control? Stay present, stay grounded, stay free. 5. Stoicism compared to other philosophies. Stoicism shares echoes with many other philosophies. With Buddhism, both teach detachment from desires and the acceptance of suffering. With Christianity, both emphasize virtue, forgiveness, and humility. With modern psychology, both focus on how thoughts shape emotions, much like cognitive behavioral therapy. But Stoicism remains unique in its clear, practical path. Focus on what you control, accept what you cannot, act with virtue above all. It is not a religion. It is not theory alone. It is a way to live, simply and courageously. 6. The timeless relevance of Stoicism. Why does Stoicism endure? Because the human condition endures. Because peace cannot be bought. Because strength cannot be given. It must be built. Today, Stoicism is studied by athletes, soldiers, CEOs, artists, and ordinary people seeking clarity in a chaotic world. Not because it offers easy answers, but because it offers something better. A path to wisdom. A path to peace. A path to freedom from fear, anger, and regret. Whatever your life, whatever your role, the Stoic wisdom remains the same. You control only yourself. But that is enough. Becoming a modern Stoic. Final summary of key teachings. A call to action for daily practice. Closing reflections from Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. Becoming a modern Stoic. We have travelled far across time, from ancient Athens to the Roman Empire to the busy streets of our modern world. But the path remains the same. The teachings of the Stoics have not aged because human nature has not changed. The world will always be uncertain. People will always disappoint. Fortune will always rise and fall. But peace belongs to those who master themselves. 1. A final summary of Stoic teachings. Control only what is yours, your mind, your thoughts, your choices, your virtue. Let go of what is not yours, the opinions of others, the chaos of the world, the shifting winds of fortune. Live with the 4 Stoic virtues. Wisdom, understand what truly matters. Courage, face hardship with strength. Justice, treat others as they deserve. Temperance, balance your desires and fears. Accept reality with grace. Do not curse your fate, love it. Let adversity forge you into something stronger, calmer, better. Train your mind daily. Reflect in the morning, review in the evening. Meet each challenge with awareness and purpose. 2. A call to action for daily life. You do not need to become a philosopher in name. You need only to live as one in practice. In every choice, ask yourself, am I acting with reason? Am I acting with virtue? Am I focusing only on what belongs to me? When you fail, and you will, begin again. Each day is a fresh chance to practice. Each moment an opportunity to strengthen your character. 3. Closing reflections from the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Seneca taught, "Begin at once to live and count each day as a separate life." The world will not grow quieter, the storms of life will not cease, but you can change. You can become steady, calm, and free from within. That is the gift of Stoicism, not a life without trouble, but a life without turmoil. Master yourself, control what is yours, let the rest go, and you will find you already possess everything you need. This is the Stoic life. If you found peace or clarity in these teachings, stay with us. Subscribe to this channel for more reflections, more ancient wisdom, and more practical guidance on how to live well in a noisy world. Thank you for watching.